The games have been played. The fantasy war has begun between Joe Me the Money and Best Bet Bish. We've been at it. Another interesting week of fantasy, Bish. A lot of injuries we've got to get into. So that's going to be a big part of the show today. There's been a lot, and I think a lot in that have fantasy relevance based on what your team's looking like. So, but Bish, how you doing? How are you feeling for the tonight's matchup? Give me all your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm good, great. You know, I had a good time down in London watching the game, and yeah, so a bit tired, but looking forward to the outcome of tonight. You know, as you said, it's very tight. I've got a slight lead, but you know, as we know, anything can happen. So I'm hoping Eckler can outdo Keenan Allen, and that Dallas D doesn't get up to much, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll talk the viewers through it. So at the moment, Bish is on 67.64 points. I am on 60.90. It's very close. Bish, you've got the 77% win percentage chance. I think with the extra points and Austin Eckler, I think he's projected pretty big 16 points today. I'm only predicted 14 points with Keenan Allen. But I do have that Cowboys defense, Bish. And we're back. A few internet issues. It's not a Monday evening without some internet issues, is it, Bish? I think that's
always regular, on a Monday. I don't know why. Never happens on a Thursday, just on a Monday.
If you regularly watch our shows, I think you'll notice the difference on Thursdays. There's not one hiccup. It's a lovely dream of a betting show, and then the Mondays we fight through the storm to provide you the best content we can. But yeah, Bish, I think we were just talking about obviously Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen. The one X factor I do have that I think I will question you on is my Cowboys defense. Obviously, some massive performances. One dud against the San Francisco 49ers, but in general, some big scoring offenses. And I'm only predicted 6 points from them, Bish. That could be the difference maker there. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a funny game. You know, I've seen a lot of people say it's going to be a shootout, and others say it might be a tight affair. So I guess that comes into it. You know, obviously we've got one player each from the Chargers, Eckler, and Keenan Allen. So I'm sort of hoping if there's Chargers points, it sort of nullifies that Dallas defense. So, but yeah, obviously they'll be smart enough to, you know, the 49ers putting a lot of points on them, so it gives them a bit of a leg up, and you know, hopefully Micah Parsons has a quiet night.
Yeah, he's been awesome, and is he your defensive player of the year? Who was your current defensive player of the year, Bish?
I think right now what I've just seen, I quite like Myles Garrett. He'd be up there. He'd be close to, you know, he's causing some havoc, sacks. I seen one clip of him throwing Trent Williams with one arm, so that, you know, that's it's a big effort, that one. So he'd be up there. Yeah, I think Cowboys have been good. Parsons is obviously a large part of that. So, but I guess you get to a stage where you get that good. That's what people expect week in, week out. So you've got to go above and beyond. Otherwise, you don't get noticed. So, yeah, I think he's in that category at the minute. But I'm sure come the end of the season, he'll be one of the front runners.
Yeah, I think he will have been awesome, and obviously, like you said, it's been at times I think a fantasy lifeline for me. They've saved me on multiple weeks now. I've been pretty lucky that I picked them up. I don't think I'm not sure if they were the ones I drafted. I think I picked them up after very quickly or very, very late in the draft, and it's been a wonder stroke by me so far. But you're probably hoping it's not the case tonight. So you've got the kicker, Brendan Aubrey. Obviously, a lot dependent on how, like you said, how that offense rolls. Kickers are quite hard to predict because you can get a lot of field goals. You can get a lot of, like you said, or you can just get a couple of extra points. The team might do very well offensively, but the kicker only gets 4 points if there's only 4 extra points and no field goals. So it's very hard to predict. So yeah, all still to play for. And I think when we both are waking up tomorrow morning, I don't know if you stay up, Bish. You might stay up for these Monday night games.
Oh no, I'll be in bed, sound asleep. I watch it in the morning. Yeah, I've had a long weekend, so yeah, my bed's calling.
Your bed's yeah. So no, I think we'll both be waking up at around 7:38 to message each other first thing, going boom or some other pleasantries at each other, whoever on the losing side. But yeah, so that's the main one. Other than that, Bish, I believe in the league. It's been pretty decisive, hasn't it? There's not been many big scoring teams in general. It's been quite interesting in that regard. 105 points there. We've got a 94, 83 point win. We've got a 92 and 98. What a matchup that was between Seabass and Danny Bravo. Point. Oh, yeah. With Tony Pollard to play. If he goes down early, Tony Pollard, Danny Bravo could come up with the win. Only obviously 2 points between that one.
Oh, that's sorry, Joe. That's Bruno. That one, Danny Bravo. He got done by Grimesy. Danny Bravo.
Oh, sorry, Bruno.
Yeah, Dirty Birds. I know that he's a big Falcons fan, so yeah, that's Bruno. That.
Oh, so it says Brew Darno. I presume that's Danny Bravo Darno. Yeah. That's a 4-1 from me. I apologise. Tag, the 4-1 tag looks like he's going to go 5-1. He's got Herbert to play tonight and CD Lamb, so that you can't see your brother Connor getting the win there. Sadly, he's only got he's had all of his play.
That's it. Yeah, Fields has killed him, man. Fields went off injured. He's only got 5 points. Yeah, you'd expect 10 points from Herbert alone, let alone with Lamb as well. So yeah, that looks. But like you said, you never know in this game, do you? An early injury, you never know.
And then we've got Isaac Farrell winning 112, the biggest score of the week. Isaac Farrell with stars like Mostert having a brilliant game, Drake London having his breakout game, possibly. Bish, what do you think to Drake London this weekend?
Yeah, Desmond Ridder seems to, he's had a bit of talk from everyone about him not being able to throw the ball, and the last few weeks he's been letting it fly a little. So yeah, a big game from Drake London. To be fair, he's done well the last couple of games, Drake London, after a quiet start. So yeah, they seem to be slowly picking up the throwing side of the game. I've seen Kyle Pitts getting some points as well. So yeah, if they can get that passing going, we know how good they are on the ground anyway. So yeah, they could be in a dangerous team come later on in the season.
I've always liked them. They've just not quite been ticking enough, have they? I think they struggle in the red zone. They struggle getting them touchdowns, which is surprising with two great, obviously, 1,000. Well, Bijan's probably going to average more than 1,000 yards this year, and obviously Tyler Algier got over 1,000 last year. So they've got 2,000 yard rushing running backs, and they can't seem to quite do it in the red zone this year. But hopefully they'll get it ticking a bit more and get some more competitive matchups on the line. But Bish, will start off. Give me your injury report this week. It's a big one. A lot of injuries to talk about. So let's get straight into it.
Yeah, a lot have gone down. I'm gonna start with David Montgomery for the Lions, the running back there, and he's had a bit of time out earlier on in the season. He picked up a thigh injury and missed a week, and now this one it's a rib injury. And they've also been without Gibbs, the rookie. This is the second game he's been out as well. So they really are, struggling on the running back front. Talk is it's a rib injury, so it says he might face some time out. So, which brings in Craig Reynolds, who's did all right, to be fair, this week. Picked up the slack. They had a good win. Didn't really have to do much, but racked up some points. So, yeah, David Montgomery's been good. He's in my team, actually. He's been good for a touchdown, most weeks. And a steady 12 to 13 points a game. So, it's a big blow for any Montgomery owners. Like you said, Craig, Gibbs is also out, so that brings in the third string, Craig Reynolds. So he might get a run. So he might be one to see who owns him, and if no one does, then a sneaky bid maybe.
Yeah, I'd definitely get in for Craig Reynolds if the reports are Jameer Gibbs isn't playing another week. That leaves him as pretty much the sole running back. He didn't do amazing in his time when Montgomery went off, but I think he's going to have all the ball, and they're a run-heavy team, that Detroit Lions, and I think that means Craig Reynolds, whether he's an outstanding running back or not, gives him a lot of points and gives him that floor that a lot of owners are looking for. Bish, you're a floor man. We've talked about this. You're a floor man. I'm a ceiling man. He probably suits that bill pretty well. I think he's got a floor of 7 or 8 points there with just how much ball he's going to get and how much the Lions like to run the ball.
Yeah, that's it. The only tough one is he's coming against the Ravens, so notoriously a tough defense. Actually watching them firsthand at the weekend, although Derrick Henry got off a few big runs, so you never know that. Yeah, he might just jag one for a big run and get those points for you. So it's one to keep an eye on, like you said, see what Gibbs is doing, see what the injury news is, and then like you said, the potential of him getting all the carries. That's what you want. You want volume. So if that's an opportunity available to you, it might be one that you need to look at.
Basically, take us through your second as well, because I'm going to go rattle off a particular position and go through a couple that we're talking about. But give us your second, Bish.
So what I've gone two together here, just looking at the 49ers, and they had a couple go down. The dreaded Christian McCaffrey go down, as we spoke about. Injuries in the past, he's had a massive workload, and he's picked up what I believe now is again a rib injury. It started out as an oblique injury, but I think news is it's a rib injury. So, and at the same time, Deebo Samuel got injured as well, shoulder injury in the first half. That stopped him coming back. So all of a sudden, this high-powered offense scoring 30 points a game, you've just lost two massive weapons, and it sort of stifles you a little bit. Makes you a little bit more one-dimensional. On the flip side, Kittle owners, Ayuk owners, they're over the moon because all of a sudden you're going to be getting a lot more volume. I think Ayuk at the weekend, he had 10 targets, only managed to get 4 of them, but it just shows the workload, will increase massively there. And with the 49ers, I mean, behind McCaffrey, there's a plethora of running backs. There's 3 or 4 really. Again, can't stay fit, but they just come in, do the job. So that's something you'll probably have a look at on the waiver wire and see how McCaffrey goes. And it's hard to know who would be the main back, but I think it's worth at least picking up one, because if McCaffrey's out for a while, all of a sudden another one goes down, then generally if you've got the right one, he might be the main man for you. So yeah, it's a bit of a lottery in terms of the backups, but one to have a look at, I think.
Yeah, I think, get on that. 49, if there's any available, like you said, it's worth the punt. I don't think you'd know. Probably take a week to sort that out because they've got quite a few. Elijah Missile comes to mind. Elijah Mitchell is an official name, but I like to call him Elijah Missile. So to many others, he's a great running back. But again, like you said, another injury-prone running back. So they've got a lot to sort out there in San Fran. And if you're an owner of one of them backup running backs, you're probably, like I said, probably getting excited. George Kittle owners excited. There's a few things to go, but I think a lot of it's also dependent on that man Brock Purdy, who had his first poor game in a 49ers shirt. Would you say, Bish?
Yeah, he come up against a massive defense, didn't he? The Cleveland Browns are doing the stuff. We talked about Myles Garrett, and yeah, I think his first defeat as a starter as well. So a bit of adversity. See how he bounces back. See how that goes. But yeah, you'd like to think that they'd be back on the horse, wouldn't you? But the way they've started the season, a lot is expected from him. But see how he bounces back next week.
Yeah. All right. I will take you through what is one of the craziest weeks of injuries in a certain position, and that's just chuck it up here, the QB crisis. I've got a collective 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 QBs injured this weekend, Bish. We'll start off with the man, Josh Allen himself. Took a blow. News reports are saying he will be okay, but that might mean he misses a week, might mean he misses 2. But Josh Allen's pretty tough. Hopefully he's back next weekend. But owners of quite a few owners of Stephon Diggs, owners of a couple of others of them, Gabe Davies maybe comes to mind, where you take a punt as a flex player. You'd be a bit nervous. Obviously, Josh Allen's so important, and in fact, just a fantasy player himself, who's one of the top QBs you draft every year. Then we'll go on to one that you've got to be nervous around is Justin Fields. He's ruled out in the third quarter of the game against the Vikings. He suffered a dislocated thumb. Well, I don't know about you, Bish, but I wouldn't want to be chucking a football around with a dislocated thumb. It's not really indicative. And with an offense that has struggled so much, having your star player in Justin Fields injured, panic stations for any Chicago Bear owner of any player of any position, Bish. I think, maybe set the running backs. Maybe they'll go even more running back heavy. But I'd be nervous for it all because I think that offense, even if it is more running back heavy, it's just going to get stifled. It's struggled anyway. And I think without Fields there and that threat of that running game he's got, I don't think there'll be any space for them running backs. So they know where it's going. DJ Moore owners, who I missed out the fact that I pulled off a trade. Well, I've not pulled off. I got offered DJ Moore for James Cook. I was very excited when it happened. I thought, well, I'll take that. DJ Moore, 40-point game, and then obviously Justin Fields has gone down injured, so kind of lowers my value of DJ Moore. And I think, obviously, like I said, every player, because that offense is going to be very slow. We'll go into others quickly. Waiver wire pick up quarterbacks. There's names of Baker Mayfield, Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think many people were picking up Ryan Tannehill, but you never know. If for the Tennessee Titans, it might even be a good thing. I don't want to say that. And Hill's not had the best of starts as of this year, but I think he is a serviceable quarterback, and I'm not sure. I think Baker's a massive miss. Jimmy G's a massive miss. I think the waiver wire part of this show is going to be a big one, especially in that QB position today, Bish.
Yeah, like you said, all those injuries. There's Trevor Lawrence as well, who limped off, and he's day-to-day with a knee injury. And to add to that, you've got all those quarterbacks injured, and you've also got 6 teams on buys as well. So that throws up even more quarterbacks who obviously are unavailable next week. So the waiver wire, I think, will be busy for quarterbacks this week. And we had a look at ours before the show, and there weren't that many out there who you'd want in your team, but it's literally beggars can't be choosers at the minute. You know, with that injury list, you've just got to get a starter out there. So yeah, it's going to be. I think, especially in our league where we're bidding money wise, there might be a few overvalued quarterbacks on the waiver wire this week.
Bish, that's the debate of this week. I don't think there's many others. We can debate all the other different points and what people have. What do you do? How much do you pay for a quarterback? Is that win that important for 1 week? Or do you play it smart and play the long game? Obviously, a lot of it's dependent on your league position. But what do you think, Bish? Because it's a tough call to make, to put a load of fab into a quarterback like Derek Carr. That probably a lot of people are going to be going for this week.
Yeah, I think it depends who you're playing, I must admit. First, like my scenario next week is I've got Lawrence. You know, he said he's day-to-day. If he actually play Thursday next week, which obviously is a very short turnaround for him. So I'm in that debate. What do I do here? Do I throw a lot of money at someone? I'm up against Danny Bravo next week, who's also got a lot of players on bye. So I'm sort of weighing up. He's got Jordan Love, so he'll be. He's got Lamar Jackson as well. So I might need to dig in and spend some fab, because if you're going against a sort of mid-string quarterback, you might be able to get away with, I don't know, whoever's out there, a PJ Walker at the Browns if Watson misses, or you could have a dig at that. But coming up against Lamar Jackson, he's going to get some decent points. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to throw some money at a Derek Carr or a Josh Dobbs, I think, who's the main two on our waiver wire. Because if you anyone who went with Minshew last week from me, I apologise. So I won't be touching him this week.
You've got to admit when you get things wrong, aren't you? As long as you take your wins as well. But yeah, I don't know, Bish. I just don't know. Like I said, there's just not that many available. I think if you're in a position where you're 2-4, 1-5, and you need a win, or your season's looking closer and closer, looking to be over, Bish. I think it's got to be. I think you've got to go for it. I think in that later, if you're struggling and your quarterback's on that bye, I don't think you've got a choice. I think you fight for that Derek Carr, because the alternative, no offense, is a PJ Walker. It's some of them no-name quarterbacks who are coming back from this who are the backups of these injured QBs that I don't think many people will be wanting to start. Plus the ones on bye, you've just got no other options. And if you're against I think it's even more important if you're against a player who also has a QB that is on bye or injured, because then that might be the difference. If they have I can't even remember the name, but some of the backups for Ryan Tannehill, I can't pronounce his name. So what's it? give me.
I think Malik Willis came in at the weekend, but he looks like he was moving a bit too quick for him.
Malik, backup for Jimmy Garoppolo. Sorry, I think I've got him mixed up quickly.
Jimmy Garoppolo, they put in Brian Hoyer, although they have got a rookie Aiden O'Connell who played the week before. They're putting Brian Hoyer. So, but again, another option, someone who's sitting on two quarterbacks, maybe you go and trade for one. Maybe you make a trade. If I was sitting on two quarterbacks, I'd be actively looking to trade one at the minute, definitely, with what we've just said. So that's another option out there, so that you can possibly take advantage of. Can you get rid of your second string quarterback and strengthen your team somewhere else? That will ultimately help you in the long run.
I think obviously viewers, if you're in this predicament, chuck your questions in, chuck your thing in. We'll give you all the advice we can. And I'm big on. I'll be updating obviously all the things. Bish, you're on top of it. You've got some great advice. I'll be on. I'll help out whoever I can. Whoever's got any questions, because there'll be a lot of people needing a lot of things this week. And like you said, look for trades. Look for the waiver wire. I think Derek Carr is on your waiver wire. He's on both of mine. That's why I keep mentioning him, because he's probably the one QB who I believe in who will be on a lot of waiver wires. I think you've got to go for it. I think you've got to pull that trigger and guarantee yourself possibly a win if your opponent has to play one of them worst quarterbacks in the league. So that's the injury report. A lot to go through there, Bish. Hopefully we've given some nice advice out. Like I said, any questions, any concerns, dive in at us. We'll answer everything we've got, because it's going to be a big week for it with that many teams on bye, with that many injuries. It's going to be crazy, Bish, and I'm on it tonight. I'm going to get into it and get my waiver wires sorted out for next week. Because I think even if I win or lose to you, I'm still up there. But I don't want to go. Yeah. I don't want to lose 2 or 3 weeks in a row now. So I've got to shore things up down at the Show Me Towers.
Yeah, that's it. It's getting tight up there. There's 4 of us at the minute on 4-1, and it's looking like obviously one of us won't be there, but the other 3, the other 2 on 4-1 will look like they'll be on at 5-1. So that's it. Every week matters here. You need to be racking up those wins on a weekly basis. So yeah, it's getting to a time where you're going to have to take those chances.
Right, there's something a bit more negative. We've got the fantasy flop straight into it. 2 in a row. Let's go. Bish, take us into your first fantasy flop this week.
I think the biggest fantasy flop of the season so far is Jerry Jeudy this week. So for those, a bit of background, it was a live game, Thursday night game against the Chiefs, and Steve Smith Sr. was on the sideline. And apparently Steve Smith Sr.'s gone to try and say, they've had a bit of beef in the past. Steve Smith said some things that Jerry Jeudy weren't happy with. I think Steve Smith's gone to say something. Jerry Jeudy's just not acknowledged it, said something back. and then all of a sudden it's blown up, and Steve Smith has just ripped into him on live TV, calling him a mediocre wide receiver. He'll be out at the Broncos soon. And then Jerry Jeudy, to sort of back that up, goes for 3 receptions for 14 yards, and 2.9 points. So there's a lot going on at the Broncos at the minute. A lot saying pretty much everything is up for grabs, up for trade. They're trying to start again. So, it's probably not what Jerry Jeudy's after really at the minute. He's fighting fires on social media and with people, and unfortunately his performances aren't backing him up on the field at the minute.
No, he's been underwhelming this year on a team where actually Russell Wilson's ratings are actually up there in one of the best ratings as a QB. I think it's a 109. He's done pretty well this year. He's actually gone against the grain of how we were looking. He's throwing well. I think he's playing very safe. I think that's a big reason why his stats may look amazing on paper if you watch him. He's not taking any risk this year, when last year we were throwing it everywhere to try and get something going. This year's gone, I'm looking after myself a little bit and I'm playing it. I'm hitting that easy ball, or I'm keeping it to myself. But yeah, he's having an okay year in whole, but Jerry Jeudy's not been a recipient of that. I think the tight ends have done pretty well at Denver this year. The running backs are doing okay, but overall, yeah, the wide receivers and Jerry Jeudy being one of them stars, a brilliant player at Alabama, was touted to be something special. His attitude's doing more of the talking than he's playing at the moment, isn't it, Bish? So, yeah, I think that is a big flop.
A big one.
My fantasy flop this week is something, again, I like to do themes just so the viewers can get a roll on, and mine's George Kittle. Mentioned him earlier. He should be in for a big week. If he don't get a big week next week, I think George Kittle owners will be a bit disappointed with your season so far. But last weekend he got 1 receiving yard and 1 catch. So that's where George Kittle's at so far. He's had that one brilliant game, but in general, Bish, I don't think you're that happy. Another poor game for Kittle. Obviously does so much for the team on the blocking end of the tight end spectrum. Does a lot of that stuff. It's nothing on him as a player, but him as a receiving and fantasy player, I think you're getting more and more nervous. Like you said, injuries normally aren't good news, but in this case there are, and I think Kittle owners will be on the edge of the seats expecting a good week finally.
Yeah, that's it. Like you said, it's boom or bust. A boom or bust player. And, to be honest, he had a bit of pattern of this last year, but then he came big in the playoffs and, won some people titles. So, again, it's a player you've got to play. He's in a team that scores points. He's a good enough player. Like you said, hopefully with potentially 2 big weapons missing, it brings him out more. He's probably less of a blocking tight end now and more of a receiving tight end, and hopefully you can rack up some points that way from him.
Yeah, I think I think in future lessons are, if you've got a player on a stacked offense, you've probably got to stack him around very consistent, steady players. I don't mind a George Kittle who can go for freakish amount of points, as we've seen. But I think the way to build your team next year will be to stack him around consistent wide receiver 2, RB2, who have got that high floor, may not have the same ceiling, but you need some consistency around. If you've got a load of doing like that, like AJ Brown, like on these teams, any receiver on the team, them sort of players you've got to be nervous about, and I think that's a lesson for all going into the future. Think about the way you put on the team, think about the way you stack the team. Things happen, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. But Bish, take me through your second injury report. No, it's my second fantasy flop, so I said injury report.
Oh yeah, fantasy flop. My second one is I'm going to go with Logan Thomas, the tight end for the Commanders. I actually picked him up in a couple of leagues based off his performance last week. He had a big performance against the Falcons. 9 receptions, 77 yards, and 1 touchdown. Played a big part in the game, and then we roll forward to this week. Sorry, he played the Falcons this week. Although they did win, he only had 1 reception for 2 yards. And that's so 0.7 fantasy points for your tight end, which, I thought I was in for at least a double-digit day, to be honest with you. So that one hurt me quite a lot, and probably any other Thomas owners out there as well.
What do you think to the tight end position this year, Bish? There's not much production other than your name's Travis Kelce, which it was a bit last year, but I think it's even more pronounced this year. It's been a crazy year for. I think wide receivers are obviously taking over, but wow, the tight end position's not. You're lucky to find anything.
Yeah, it's been tough. Usually you get your sort of 2 or 3, don't you? Your Kelsey's up there, and then Andrews, Kittle. Yeah, it's been a bit disappointing. Dallas Goedert's come on the last few weeks. He's scoring a few points, and so yeah, it's hard to find someone who you can constantly rely on week in, week out, as you're saying. So you've got to build your team where every now and again you're going to take, some low points from this category, really. But I guess the one the one plus, it's the same for everyone. If you've not got Kelce, you're pretty much all in the same boat at the minute. So, it's generally just trying to pick matchups week to week and just, hopefully you can find a streamer that works for you that week.
Brilliant. And then, my second fantasy flop this week is someone who tagged out a tag. I've got to call you out on your touchdown treble is Cam Akers, and it's not your fault tag. It was a shot to us all, but only 1 carry for 8 yards is it's not bad on your average. It's not bad on your average yards carry, but it's not good it's not good for fantasy, and it's not good on the pitch, Bish. They're just not using him as much as I think we thought. That offense it's so wide receiver heavy, even with Justin Jefferson out. He's not got the leading role there as the running back, so I don't think there's space for Cam Akers. I don't think there's space for a second running back in that team, because even the first running back isn't getting enough points in the system to for anything to be shared about. And I'd say my advice for Cam Akers owners or people who are looking to maybe have a waiver wire, have a flex player like Cam Akers in there as a risk, I'd say stay away. I think unless you get incredibly lucky, there's going to be no consistency in Cam Akers. There's just not enough. They just don't run the ball enough. So it would require 1 or 2 very lucky touchdowns, and it's not worth playing your fantasy football that risky, I don't think, Bish.
Yeah, actually a rare occasion this game, low scoring game against the Bears, 19-13. They did run quite a bit just for game script, but as you said, it was all Mattison. I think he had 18 carries for around 40 yards, which is just, it's not a great deal. I don't know. Cam Akers has been here, I think 3 weeks now, 3-4 weeks since he's been traded. You'd like to think he'd be, like you said, getting his way into more carries, but he's not at the minute. So I guess, yeah, I don't know what. Do you hold on to him and try and wait for that one big game and then sort of ship him out? I'm not sure, but it might be just a case of seeing what else is up there. Maybe trying to find a younger back with a bit more upside, possibly. But yeah, it's tough sledding for Cam Akers. Truthers at the minute, if there are any out there.
Yeah, I think there was still a couple a bit ago, weren't there? There was still a couple. You'd see his name get mentioned on Twitter, but I'm not a Cam Akers truther, sadly. And I think mainly because of them injuries he got. He did his ACL 2 years in a row, I believe, didn't he? Or was it his? I think it was 2 season-long injuries.
Achilles as well. Achilles.
Yeah. So 2 season-long injuries. It's just so hard to recover from, and it's sadly put a cap on his career. But yeah, I'm not a truther anymore. I think stay away, Bish. I think there's, like you said, there's people there with more upside, and I think you've got to go with the upside rather than rather than a Cam Akers lucky touchdown. I just don't think it's consistent or predictable enough to have near your fantasy team. But Bish, that brings us on to the first bit of positivity in this show. It's been a bit of a negative show. Talk about a lot of injuries, a lot of buys, a lot of poor performances. Well, Bish, take us through your segment. We've got the Bish's breakouts.
Bish's breakouts. My first one, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings defense here. You know, for those that have watched this show for a number of episodes and going back even to last year, you know, I've not been the Miami defense's biggest fan, to be honest. You know, I think I've referred to them as sieves at times and all sorts, but I've got to give them the props here. You know, they've scored 23 fantasy points, 2 interceptions, 5 sacks, only conceded 13 points, forced 2 fumbles, managed to recover 1. They got a defensive touchdown and 8 quarterback hits as well. So they were all over the Chicago Bears. Obviously, we know Fields went out injured. The backup came in, but you know they were dominant throughout, really. So, as you said, when someone proves me wrong, I'm more than happy to give them the flowers. So, well done, the Minnesota Vikings defense.
I'd say, Bish, though, is that more an indication of how poor the Chicago Bears offense is, or am I missing something here? Because I'm like you, I'm not a Minnesota Vikings lover, defensive lover. I love their offense, but I don't. How much does this translate season get forward, Bish? I don't know if it does.
Yeah, you're probably right. To be fair, like you said, it is the Bears have not been great, have they? You know, even at full strength, you know, 1-5 on the year. A lot of questions asked about Field. So yeah, it's probably. But at the end of the day, you can only beat what's put in front of you, can't you? Week to week. That's what fantasy is. It's about week to week. So for this week, they were great. Will it continue? I'm doubtful, but they've still got some splash players in them. You know, Daniel Hunter's still a big player for them. So Zadarius Smith. So they've got some players out there. So probably. I can't see many more big weeks coming from them.
So just credit quickly where it's deserved, and we'll go back to slow next week.
Yeah.
I'll take you through my top player of the week, my Bish's breakout. It's got to be a man who had 2 seasons ago was the leading wide receiver, broke all the records in the book, and he's back. His name's Cooper Kupp. 7 receptions, 148 yards, and a touchdown. What a performance at the detriment of Puka Nacua, at the detriment to some of them other Rams wide receivers. But as a Cooper Kupp owner, whoever eventually took him in them drafts, because obviously you didn't know exactly when he was coming back, you didn't know how good he'd come back. No one predicted the Rams to be this good. I know they've not been lighting teams, they've not been blowing them out, but they've been a lot better than people expected. And then Kupp's now come back and got the ball rolling right where he left off that season or 2 ago, and I'm happy for him. Obviously, it's always tough coming back from an injury like he had, but yeah, I think Puka Nacua owners are getting a bit nervous. Bish, how much does this mean for Puka Nacua owners and Cooper Kupp owners? I'll just say once again, credit to you. Because obviously it was a punt at whatever point you took him in at the draft. You didn't know when he was coming back. You didn't know how good they'd be. You took the punt, and hopefully you're feeling the repercussions of it now, and they've been good ones.
Yeah, definitely. I actually think it doesn't affect Puka Nacua, other than obviously the volume. He won't get as much volume. But generally, Puka is an outside player. He's got a bit of speed to him. He's got a lot of height, and Kupp plays in the slot. So they can both work well with each other. The Rams a few years ago, Puka's in that sort of Robert Woods role now on the outside. So as long as Stafford's slinging it, you know, and he's healthy, I'm sure they'll both will do pretty well week to week. So obviously Cooper Kupp's going to be the first priority, the first point of call, but the offense is ticking really well for the Rams at the minute. So, you know, they're both going to get plenty of volume, I think.
How happy is this making you, Bish?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Like you said, beginning of the season, they want much hope. If I'm honest, a very young team, but the offense is clicking. As I said, those two wide receivers. And on defense, we've got a lot of young players buzzing about, trying to make names for themselves. So we've not really put two halves together at the minute. Usually we've started well, and second half hasn't been great. But this week it was the other way around. Second half, we really opened up, and pretty comfortable victory against the Cardinals. So long may it continue.
Brilliant. Bish, takes your second.
My second, probably everyone's going to be bored of hearing about the Dolphins at the minute, but I think they're a step above at the minute, and it's got to be Raheem Mostert, the running back. 3 touchdowns, 115 rushing yards, 17 in the air, 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdowns, and that came to 32.7 points in our league as well. So I'm even impressed he's doing the tough stuff. So, a lot of this Miami team, it's just pure speed. They'll run around you, but he's actually taking those hard carries, running through the gut, and bound. You can hear on the TV, you can hear the contact. So it's not just running around you. He's taking on the physical challenge as well. And for a running back who again has a lot of history with injuries, he's having a great season so far. So yeah, he's got to be. I could put him on pretty much every week at the minute. I'm trying to find other people, but he's at the minute that offense is just racking up the yards and racking up the touchdowns.
I think you've just got to sit back and enjoy it, haven't you? To be fair, it's amazing to watch. It's amazing to see. I'm enjoying every moment. I think there's not really one Dolphins player that you're really upset about. Maybe Jalen Waddle wanting more just out of selfishness, out of thing. But even he's had some good weeks. Yeah, what a season they're having. They'll end up breaking loads of records, and it's a fair play to everyone in that system because the back speed and the back some players that I think a lot of people might have not of. Raheem Mostert himself.
And imagine someone in our league trading him away early doors as well. What a nightmare!
You'll rue the day, Bish. Well, good. My second one is again one of them that fits my themes is AJ Brown, Philadelphia. What a game he had! 7 catches for 131 yards. At my detriment with Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith had another slower week again. But again, it's not quite predictable, but he's that good. He's still going to get you points. His floor is very high and his ceiling's very high. He's probably one of the players that you're excited. I think there's no sadness about having AJ Brown on your team because he's that good. You'll give Devonta Smith a week or two, won't you? In between his amazing weeks, he's keeping fantasy owners going. He's one of the main consistent wide receivers there is in the whole game. Whether he breaks the bank or not with points, he's getting that consistent catch and yardage, and that's what I like in a wide receiver. And I know you do as well, Bish.
Yeah, like you said, he's the main man on that team. And as soon as I saw Sauce Gardner wasn't playing, I thought he's going to have a big day. So yeah, he's again another team with a lot of weapons, but he is the main man. He had a little bit of a wobble early on in the season, but I think they've sort of made him the focal point again now. And I think for the last 3 games, he's had great games. So yeah, I think it'll keep going for the rest of the season. Although the schedule does get a bit tougher, the opposition gets a bit tough, but he's going to be peppered. Yeah.
All right, we're on to the next one, the most interesting one probably of this show, the Punt projects. Who's your waiver wire pickups this week, Bish? With everything we've spoke about, there's so much going on in the league right now. Give me your first waiver wire pickup.
Yeah, we've talked about quarterbacks quite a bit, so I've sort of avoided them, to be honest. My first one, just looking at that 49ers backfield, the running back option, and I'm going with Jordan Mason, running back for the 49ers. When McCaffrey went out and when he's been rested in games previously, Jordan Mason looks like at the minute he's coming in and he's running hard and he's playing fairly well, to be honest. So he picked up 8.7 points at the weekend when McCaffrey went out. So, as we said, I think Elijah Mitchell might be back, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from Jordan Mason at the minute. So if he's out there, it's one I'm looking to pick up and just stash. Well, if I need him, if I've got players on buys, I won't be afraid of playing him, because you never know, he might jag a touchdown. What you're looking for is a touchdown. If you get that 6 points, they can bump it up with a few 30, 40 rushing yards. But yeah, in that offense, I'm looking at Jordan Mason to pick him up if he's available.
I like it, Bish, yeah. I'll give my one. I am going to give a stab at this QB room, Bish, and I'm going to go Derek Carr of the New Orleans Saints. Mainly because he just gives you that. It gives you that floor. I think his lowest scoring week, which you won't be too happy with, but it's only 7. It's only 7 points. There's some that have much lower floors than that. He's averaging around 16 points a game. It gives you that floor. And I think he's a lot better than the other pickups. Like if I scroll through the list with you here, it's not looking very strong. You've got Gardner Minshew coming off a 3 interception game. You've got Bryce Young, who's on an offense that it's still trying to figure a lot of things out. You've got Desmond Ridder coming back from a pretty poor game and poor season. You've got Mac Jones, who might be benched. Tyrod Taylor is back in business, but I don't think anyone's trusting him in fantasy anytime soon. Like I said, PJ Walker. And then you've got some Malik Cunningham, Blake Sims, Skylar Howard. You've just got a lot of people here that I don't said Skylar because he was the one down. I was rattling off the names, but he won't be playing over to her. But yeah, you've got a lot of backup QBs coming in, and I don't think you've got any other option. And I think you need that floor. I think you need to, if you're playing against a QB that might be competitive, I think you've got to go with someone who can get you a touchdown, who can get you them minimum 7 points, as we've seen. And I'd be spending a bit on Derek Carr if I'm struggling this week on my quarterbacks, Bish. I don't know about you though. I think you're not as happy as I am about it.
No, I am. I'm just trying to throw the scent off because I think I'm going to need to pick up one this week. So I don't want to say too much on it. But those in our league will see Wednesday who I'm going for.
Bish, the league comes before the show. I've got you viewers. Don't worry about Bish. Yeah. Bish is wanting to win this league, but no, I think there'll be a fight for him, Bish, because I think they might be for me. I need to go through who I've got a quarterback. I've not actually checked for next week yet because I'm all in on trying to get the win versus you, and I'm nervous. But yeah, it's something I'm gonna have to look at quickly because otherwise I'm spending some of that fab I've got left on Derek Carr.
Yeah, I think a lot are like you said. So I've got a backup up my sleeve just in case, because I've spent quite a bit of fab so far this year already. So I know there's a few who, if they want him, obviously you can get him if you've got the highest fab. But it's that game of chess. Who wants to spend a little bit more than the other person in the mind game? So we'll see how it goes this week. Be interesting.
Bish, take us through your second.
My second one, I'm staying with the running backs. I like to cycle through running backs and who's hot and who's got a good matchup. So, and Kareem Hunt, back with the Browns, had a decent game, 14.6 points, managed 12 carries, got a receiving touchdown and 47 yards on the ground as well. And although he's still second in carries to Ford had 17 carries, but Kareem Hunt just did more with his carries this week against the 49ers. So it's a timeshare between them both. But we know they've got a good defense, which is going to keep them in games, which especially with Deshaun Watson out with a shoulder injury at the minute, it means they're going to be running the ball. So, I think there's room for both. Obviously, if you can get that touchdown, you're laughing, 6 points straight away. But yeah, he's one that I think he'll be available in quite a few leagues, if I'm honest. So yeah, he's definitely one that I think would benefit from being on your bench.
Yeah, definitely. What else? I think you've covered most of it there, Bish. To be fair, it was a good overview, and I like it with especially in the running back position. There's not many. There's only a couple of sure-fired anyway, and with that many buys, you've probably got to take some punts, haven't you, on players? So Yeah, I'm all in agreement. I like it. My last waiver wire pickup, Bish, is Jonnu Smith. The tight end position. We've talked about how little consistency there is at tight end, and I know I'm picking a man that's going against Kyle Pitts, but this man's coming out on top. Especially, I think Kyle Pitts is taking off a lot of the defense and opening it up for Jonnu Smith. But he's apart from the first game, his lowest scoring week is 6.7. He's gone 6.2. Sorry, he's gone 6.7, 6.2, 12, 7, and if you're a player that maybe has a lot of upside, has a lot of players who are high ceiling, low floor, as we spoke about in every show. I think you go up and pick Jonnu Smith-ish. I think you go and keep that player who you know's got a floor, who's got a steady floor. He's not going to have a big week, but he's going to keep you ticking, and you're not worried about getting a dud at the tight end position with Jonnu Smith there. Obviously, Desmond Ridder likes throwing to him, and he's a big body who's getting enough receptions a game to keep him going.
Yeah, it's a good call. Like you said, with the way they run the ball, you're going to see tight ends on the field. So he's going to be on the field. Pitts is going to be on the field, and the way Ridder is, it's an easy option for him. Like you said, he's a bit of. I see the tight end as sort of your safety net for the quarterback. So he seems to like him, and I think that what's extra juicy about that one is the good touchdown threats, the good red zone threats. That's the area where you want your tight end on the field, and they're both on the field for that area. So hopefully Jonnu Smith, can get you those points. And like you said, in a tight end market that's a bit sparse, so he offers, like you said, a good floor for you to hopefully get some decent points.
Yeah, I like it. Bish, let's finish off with our favourite segment, the punters. Let's see who your best kicker of the week is, who you're going with. Just talk about, what you're going with going into the week.
I think my probably my player of the week, my punter of the week, because I saw so much of him on Sunday at Tottenham, has got to be Justin Tucker. 6 field goals he knocked over. He racked up 18 points. So, and the Ravens, they seemed to move the ball really well up until they got to the red zone, and then they just struggled. And out he came. I think he had 3 pretty much chip shots, easy points for him. And that's sort of how the Ravens have been this year. So, if you can get a kicker who's guaranteed a couple of field goals, as you said, the points add up. So if you're looking for a kicker in a stuttering team, I think at the minute Tucker is perfect for you. Obviously, we know he's a great kicker, so he seems to be racking up some points at the minute, which is Brucey bonus. If you can get a kicker over 10 points, it goes a long way to winning you a game.
It does. My one along the similar lines is Graham Gano of the New York Giants. I think with Saquon coming back, the offense showed a bit of an uptick. I say a bit. They scored 3. They got 3 field goals, and obviously Graham Gano's the recipient of them. And I think they can move. They can quote unquote move the ball. I think they struggle in the red zone. They struggle in certain parts, but they do get some offense. They do have big plays. You can't have a player like Saquon without moving the ball a certain amount of space. And I think Graham Gano is the recipient of that. They consistently move it. They struggle to consistently move it, but they do get there. And they're a team that scores a lot of field goals. His averages are just very good. He's averaging, apart from the first week where he missed his only field goal attempt, he's averaging 8 points a game. So, like you said, I'm taking that, Bish. I'm taking that floor. And I think it's just because that offense can have plays to get down, but it's not consistent enough to get the touchdowns. And Graham Gano scores a lot of field goals from that.
Yeah, great. And they've had a tough start, Giants, but they've got a good defense. And if you've got a good defense, generally you're going to get the ball back and have opportunities to be in decent range for field goals. So yeah, it's works perfectly. Hopefully you can keep kicking them over for those who have got him.
Right, Bish, give us your outro. We've covered a lot today. We're 55 minutes into this show, so give us the ending. We've had a good show. Like I said, the waiver wire is a massive one this week. We've got massive amounts of buys. We've got loads of injuries. Give us some positivity to end the show, Bish.
As you said, it's a big week. For those in big matchups, those who need to jag them wins, those little margins. So go out there. Hopefully you've got good waiver priority. If you've not, get your money spent on those one or two more desirable quarterbacks, we'll say. Yeah. But yeah, like, subscribe. We're on all the platforms, for however you want to digest your content. Plenty more coming from us. And hopefully the next time you'll see me, I'll be 5-1 and Joe will be 4-2.
And we've got a special guest, Bish. Shall we announce it now? We're trying to figure out how we're going to quite do this, but there will be 3 people in the next show. I'm going to leave it at that, but get ready. We've got a special guest coming on the way. It won't be hard to guess who, but we'll leave it as a shock surprise. We'll get it on. We've got a big Thursday coming. Let's have it, Bish.
Looking forward to it.